Jay. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Jay Stongo, Gary Fife, Jaho Jefkados, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Hedget Wedgkis, joining me here in the studio.
It's Jay, everybody. It's Morgan.
She's a busy girl these days, aren't you?
Yes.
Soon expecting a blessed event.
Yes, next week, hopefully. Should be having my little girl.
Well, we'll bring you the story as it happens. We've got a couple of things we'll be sharing here today. First of all, we'll be speaking with, the youth coordinator for the summer youth program. They're looking to recruit some young people for their for jobs for a summer youth program to fill it out. Help them make a few bucks for school or whatever they're needing. And in the second half of the program, we're going to speak with Gaylen Cloud from Thloplocco about how the COVID-19 virus is affecting their cultural resources, in particular the language programs. But first of all, let's get to our youth programmer, Mia Hoskins. Ms. Hoskins, are you with me there?
Good morning.
Okay, let me make sure I got enough of your voice coming through there. We appreciate you making time for us today. Sitting into the studio here is Morgan Taylor. We're working the show this morning, so we'll both be firing questions, I'm sure.
Okay.
First of all, we want to know a bit about your program. What is it that you're set up to do, and who do you serve?
Well, the Summer Youth Employment Program is an 8-week summer employment program for Native American youth ages 16 to 21. We provide on-the-job training, life skills workshops. In the past, our life skills workshops have included suicide prevention, physical health, drug and alcohol abuse, and team building. We provide career guidance, resume building, interview skills, and career exploration, as well as mentorship and career readiness skills. So what we do is we'll have anywhere from around in the past we've had between 500 and 600 youth, Native American youth that reside within the Mvskoke Creek Nation boundaries. We set them up with work sites with area businesses who sign up previously to become work sites through our program, and we pay them to gain some experience and have a little fun while they're doing it.
Wow, that is an incredible challenge. It seemed like you just went down the whole list of the challenges facing our young people there. How do you do it?
We have a really good team. That we all work together. I work for the Mvskoke Creek Nation Employment and Training Administration, and it's a huge team effort. A lot of our full-time employees also serve as summer youth counselors, but we also hire on additional summer youth counselors for the summer because it's a pretty big task. But you can't do it without our team, and then we can't do it without the collaboration of area businesses who are willing to participate. And I feel like it's a win-win opportunity for both the businesses and the youth that participate.
So I remember doing this as a youth, and of course now that's changed because COVID's going on. So what are some of the changes that you guys have had to make? I know that last year was very different, and even coming into this year is going to be.
Yes, so we had some challenges last year, and we're looking at a lot of those same challenges this year. Last year, not knowing when we were going to be able to start our program kind of led us to shorten the program. So typically we run it for 8 weeks, and last year we were looking at about 6 weeks. So it was shorter. And a lot of our events, unfortunately, were canceled, or actually all of our in-person events were canceled. So where we like to do a fun day at the end of the summer youth program, where we have motivational speakers come in, and different departments and area businesses come in to do overviews of their programs and organizations. And also, of course, we feed everybody, but we have a lot of games. So it's a fun experience for all the kids, but activities like that were canceled because we just weren't able to do that due to COVID policies. So we also implemented a work-from-home program for youth that were quarantined, or if they actually contracted COVID. They were able to do a work-from-home curriculum that, depending on how long they were quarantined, they could do that until they could go back to their work site. So there were a few changes. It did look a lot different, but I was glad that we were able to serve the youth that we could during that time. I know our numbers were a little bit lower because I think there was just a lot of unknowns during that time, but we're hoping to have a better turnout, a bigger turnout, and I feel like we're a little more prepared than we were last year.
Now, in giving these young people jobs, I would presume that the tribe doesn't have enough positions itself, so you have to kind of farm them out to other agencies, private agencies, and things like that. Is that how that works?
Yes. So our summer youth program benefits a lot from some of the area businesses, not just the tribal departments, but we work with businesses throughout all of our counties. So say, for instance, in Tulsa, we had a pretty neat work site a few years back that was, they can work at local gyms, they can work at clinics, and they can work at restaurants. It really just depends on what that youth has in mind for their career path, because we really try to give them career guidance and put them in their field of interest. So if they can get some experience at a business that might be like a future career path for them, we definitely encourage them to apply for jobs like that.
Yeah, when I was doing it, I had worked several places, like a physical therapy center, a women's fitness center, during the summers, and I got a lot of experience. Are you guys having resistance from any of these businesses during this COVID time?
No, I wouldn't say we were met with any resistance from their part. I feel like there might be they might not be sure when to apply or when we begin taking applications, but I found that a lot of the businesses are really interested in having them still come to work and have a few extra hands for them during the summer.
Right. Well, I'm sure they enjoy the free to them help.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Well, it all sounds wonderful, and we've had some experience with these employees in the past in the media department. But I think a lot of that was over their heads, and they were challenged, of course, by the repertorial needs and things like that. A job that was just too much for them. But I've heard they've succeeded in other programs and were quite happy with the job that they were working in. But going back to the first part of the question, how do you deal with those things that don't quite seem to work out very well?
So whenever we have, if there's a problem that arises at a work site with a youth, that's where our summer youth counselors really come in, and they provide some of that guidance. So there's a direct supervisor that will work with each youth, and we generally try to give them a little independence and let them work it out between both the supervisor and the youth. But if it's not able to be resolved, then we'll call in our summer youth counselor and have them speak with them and let them know what our rules are, our guidelines, and remind them the program that they signed on to do. And we try to do a little bit of guidance that way with our counselors, and then sometimes even with me or with our youth specialist, Cody Evans. So sometimes we have to come in and speak with them as well. And it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there'll be something that can't be resolved, and we try our best to not let that happen, that they don't get terminated. But unfortunately, sometimes it does. But I feel like we had a pretty good group last year, so we didn't have too many of them that were.
If I'm remembering correctly, there's like a contract, that each youth has to sign, like saying we're going to be good and we're going to do this and we're going to show up and whatnot, right?
Yes. So they actually sign a contract between the employer. So that would, whether it's a department that falls under Creek Nation or if it's just an area business, they do have to sign a guideline, or they have it's an employment and employer agreement that they have to sign that goes over what's expected of them, that they know when to show up to work, what they need to be wearing, what's acceptable, what's not. And then we also provide an orientation for both the work sites and for the youth before they start their first day.
The work ethic, we can get that out too.
Yes.
Work ethic, a part of it, I think, is critical. So first of all, they need to understand this isn't a babysitting service. It's not a free paycheck. You're expected to show up, do the job, and do it well, and put yourself into it, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's a really important point, because it is so many of their first jobs. It might not be something that they've had to do yet. So you will have youth that are still learning, but that's our job, is to come in and guide them and give them that mentorship where they understand what's proper work ethic and what isn't.
So I know usually you guys allow, multiple youth at a work site, depending on the supervision. But are you guys having to cut those numbers because of the CDC restrictions at all?
It really depends on the work site and what their guidelines are. Our department is following all of the CDC guidelines. So whatever those guidelines are, as far as like contact, we're having to follow those as well. But each work site will have their own rules, so they also have to follow the rules of the work site. And kind of like with the program itself, there are summer youth rules and there are rules of the work site, and they're expected to abide by both of those.
Are you guys going to provide PPE for the youth as they go to their work sites?
That I'm not sure of. I would probably have to get back to you about that question, because I know some of the work sites will provide it for them.
Right.
But that's definitely something we could look at.
Do those sites, I would guess, include a wide range of professions? I've seen the crews working out like landscaping and keeping up the grounds and things like that, but others were working in offices and learning accounting skills and working like that. Give me some idea of what the range is of the jobs that you supply.
So we have. I feel like we have a pretty good range of work sites that could fit a few different career paths for our kids. We've had them go into the health field to work at clinics. We've had, because we have a lot of youth that are interested in nursing or going into the medical field. We certainly have a lot of positions as far as administrative work. So if they're filing, working as an office clerk, answering phones, learning how those basic customer service skills. We've had them work at the Dome, so they get kind of an idea of what it's like to work events, work sporting events, things like that. There have been quite a few, and I know one of the more interesting places that we had was the UG Butterfly Farm, where we had kids that were interested in agriculture. that seemed to be like a really nice fit for them. It's pretty unique, I think, but I feel like we have a good range of kids and a lot of different interests too.
And like if a youth finds a place they want to work that's not already, enrolled with you guys, there are steps to be taken to be able to do that, right?
Yes, so if we have youth that are interested in working at a specific work site, they can always refer them to our office, and we will send them a work site application, and they can still sign up. We just have to have them approved beforehand. But yes, they would definitely be able to refer those work sites to us.
So, what are some of your dates right now as far as application deadlines and start dates?
So the application deadline for the youth application, so for all of the youth that would be applying, we started taking them December 1st, and we'll be accepting them through March 31st. We are still accepting worksite applications through the end of this month. And so if there are any local businesses that are interested in applying, they're more than welcome to contact the ETA office. But our first day for summer youth is scheduled for June 7th, and we'll be running through July 30th.
Are there areas of employment that you might discourage these students from pursuing, perhaps? First thing comes to mind is entertainment business. I mean, that's a really tough place to make a buck and to make a career, or other things that might require extra time and effort. I'm thinking maybe, entertainment, pro sports, kind of some of the odd sorts of things that might come to mind. I don't know. Have you run across that sort of thing?
Yes, actually, we have had some youth that were interested in entertainment, and while I wouldn't ever discourage them from going into those fields, I know that, those types of careers are, hard to attain. I tried to guide them into, give them networking opportunities that might benefit them, and let them know, that path is pretty difficult, but you'd want to do your research on any profession that you want to go into, and we try to mentor them and let them know that any profession that they pick, it doesn't need to just be about their salary, because that's not always the best indicator of happiness or job satisfaction.
Sticking with the topic of entertainment, it seemed like an easy kill here. You got to know how, let's say, to read music and to work with a group. You need to know something about accounting to keep people from ripping you off. Perhaps something about legal terms involved in a contract, travel, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, suggest some steps.
There would be, and I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of guidance, I feel like, that I could give to someone. But I try to ask around to see who might be able to guide that youth into a career like that. But yes, that would definitely be a different career path to pursue. I've had friends go that route, and it seems tough.
Yeah. Are they working at Sonic or something? No, I'm just teasing. I'm just kidding.
It seems like it becomes more of like a side passion for them, I think, where they have a day job, and then it's like something they have, something they can do on the weekends, kind of.
Yeah, even that's tough. I mean, I've worked with a band before, and, you bust your tail all week, and then all of a sudden you still have to work the weekend. Playing music's a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable, but setting up and then after you've done the gig, breaking it down and putting it back on a truck is not much fun.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
So there's a whole lot more involved in what you teach. You try to give them a more rounded picture of what the job is like and what's required. Yes,
so I hope that each youth that goes to a work site, especially if it's something that they feel like they're interested in, I hope that they do have, a broader idea of what it is that they're going into. That's why I feel like this program is so important, because from personal experience, I remember thinking that I wanted to go into one profession and it really not panning out for me, and then finding, something else that was much better. I love my job, so I found it to be much better suited for me. And I hope that when the youth go to work at these work sites, that they either find themselves very interested, or even if they find out that career path is not for them, then that too is a lesson learned for them. So they don't have to waste time as an adult, trying to, pick and choose where it is that they're trying to fit in.
I agree with that, because me going through it myself, just like you said, there were each year I did something totally different and realized, well, I guess I really don't like this like I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think that's an opportunity that they can get as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, that they don't have to, hopefully, you don't go into a major, graduate from college thinking you're going to like this, but it turns out you don't like it at all.
Well, that's part of life, I think, is finding out what you like and you don't like, and applying yourself when necessary, or realizing, I think, that this dream you had all of a sudden is pretty a miserable way to make a living. The numbers, what kind of numbers are you getting there? Students applying and being placed?
In a normal year, and last year was very different. But in a normal year, we had, the previous year we had 513, I believe, was what we ended with. Last year, I want to say that we ended around 360. I blame a lot of that on, the pandemic and people not feeling really safe to send their kids to, to a work site, which I completely understand. But I don't know. I'm hoping that we have numbers that are a little bit higher, given that this is kind of just the climate that we're living in now, and I feel like we're a little better prepared to host them with an idea of what it was like last year and how we can implement those changes this year.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, is you guys feel a little bit more prepared coming into this, as last year, during the summer, COVID kind of started hitting really hard, and things started to, everybody stay home type of situation. So what are some of the things that you guys are already implementing?
So we're already looking at our finance, because we also provide a financial literacy curriculum. We're looking at that being completely online. We're looking at our life skills being virtual as well. And these would all probably, we have orientation for our work sites as well as our youth that we're expecting to be through Zoom meetings. And so those are some of the ways. And then if we were to do a fun day for our kids at the end of the summer, more than likely the drawings and things like that would be held would probably be virtual. So we are taking steps to provide a safe environment for everyone, but at the same time still let them go to their work site. So those are things that we really didn't have as much time to plan, because it was just so unexpected.
Is this kind of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, a popular program? I mean, do you get more applications than you can accept?
I wouldn't say that we get more applications than we accept, because I feel like our office does a really good job of trying to find placement for each youth that is interested in working during the summer. Even if that means taking applications from work sites after our deadline is passed, we try our best to find spots for every youth, and we were able to find work sites for every youth. Even last year, when some of the work sites started shutting down, we didn't have to send anybody home, but we're able to find a place for each one.
Okay, so what are the ages here that you accept and stop accepting?
We have youth from ages 16 to 21, and so if they turn 21 on the first, they can't turn 21 on the first day of summer youth. So they can turn, not 21 but 22. If they turn 22 on June 8th, that would be fine. But they just have to be 21 on the first day or 16 on the first day of summer youth.
Beyond that, they're no longer youth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Our program still offers programs for youth that are up to 24, but it would be different than the summer youth program. We have a year-round program as well for some of our older youth.
Okay, Mia, is there any other information out there that you feel like people need to know?
Let me think.
Well, while you're thinking, maybe you can come up with an answer for this one. What's the most popular field that these students apply for?
Most popular field. I would say that I probably have the most youth that are interested in the health field. I feel like nursing is a really big one. And especially now, I think that's kind of like a boom in the industry, is that there are waiting lists everywhere for people to get into nursing school. So that would probably be the one. Even like I feel like coding, that one too seems to be pretty popular.
Mm-hmm. Well, all the health professionals are just getting worn out trying to meet the challenge. So
I know. I hope a youth doesn't decide they don't like it during this time.
Oh boy, yeah.
I know. Yeah.
All right, Mia, we're going to have to wrap this up. Now, if someone is interested in applying or talking to you, or a parent wanted more information, how do they do that?
If they can call our office, and my direct line at Employment and Training is 918-732-7775.
All right. Thank you, Mia Hoskinson. We appreciate you taking time and filling us in. Now, this program is just now kicking off, is it, pretty much?
Yes, it is, and we will be accepting those youth applications until March 31st.
All right. Okay, well, listeners, pass the word around. Chance for some young people to go to work.
Yep, summer money.
All right. We're going to take a short pause here, and we'll be back with Mr. Gaylen Cloud. We'll talk about how the COVID is affecting our culture, particularly language. So please stay with us here on what is this show? Mvskoke Radio. Let's go. Time out.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Okay, here's a message for our hockey fans. The Tulsa Oilers hockey is back at the BOK Center for two huge games this week against the Kansas City Mavericks. Join us on Thirsty Thursday for $1 beers all night long. The fun continues on Friday on 918 Night. Come out and celebrate the 918 with $9.18 tickets. That's a nice connection. The puck drops at 7:05 on both Thursday and Friday nights, and tickets are as low as $9.18. Buy tickets today by phone or text 918-632-7825 or online at TulsaOilers.com. Tulsa Oilers hockey fun for the entire family. That's Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center this Thursday and Friday nights. So, all right, now getting on with our program, we have Mr. Gaylen Cloud. Is that correct? We get it right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, now you're with the Thloplocco Township, is that right?
Yeah, Thloplocco Tribal Town.
Okay, now, what's your position? What's your job? Your responsibility there?
I'm the THPO officer there at the tribal town, the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer.
Thank you. We get into acronyms here, and all of a sudden we're lost. Now, we don't get the chance to chat with someone from down in that area too often, but I'm happy that you made it in to talk with us today. And the subject we need to talk about is how this virus is affecting all of our people, particularly in the cultural end of it. And I know that our chief and second chief and even our PR officer have talked about the devastation when we lose an elder who is a fluent speaker of the Mvskoke language. Now, can you give me kind of a description on how this virus has hit your part of the Creek Nation?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to tell you Mado. Mo na wikit sa at amboy sa yara ta hilirondo ya nagi ajulaga fullaga that Bolays mo in amboy sa madata mizahane dondo. So I just want to tell you Mado again for calling me and asking me about the question you just asked.
And you just blew out all my language studies right there. Going, whoops! I think I better get back to class. But not to make light of it, but what you just did there was something that doesn't happen too often. It's the use of our own language, particularly in the media like this, but in common usage. I mean. Anyway, getting back to your assessment then, how's this disease really affecting you all down there?
Well, it's affected not only that community down there, but all over. We've lost a lot of elders, a lot of them that we can name them off, and the list would be long. Here recently, we've lost some really good men down that way. One to mention is Lumber Proctor, Leon Bell. Excuse me for a second.
That's okay. Now you're free to share these names because this is the cultural resource that you cannot replace.
Yeah, Miko Bobby Yarji.
Mm.
The importance of them guys right there, the men, is that they took a lot with them. They took a lot of things that we try to carry on as Mvskoke people. That's our life, and when they go, a lot of that goes with them, or all of it goes with them. It's like a library that's shut down, as they say. Stuff through cultural tradition and also language it's just very important to us as Mvskoke people. That's our identity of who we are. With them, they've been on their roles at the ceremonial grounds, for 50 plus years, a long time. And it's just not affecting the ceremonial towns, but also the traditional churches that we have out there. The elders that come out there and that were taught the songs that, their mother, their grandmother, their family songs that they have been taught out there. And then when they go, who do we turn to then? Who do we look for? Who do we look for that guidance? It's irreplaceable. That down at speaking as for me, just as for me, coming from I grew up at Nyaka Ceremonial Ground. This is where I grew up at, and a lot of things down there, the ways, it's an oral tradition. Mm-hmm. You see things, and that's how you are taught, is by that way, and so nothing is written down. So when you see that, you learn it. And so the men, as in, with our chiefs, are the men that we have there, when they tell you to do something, you don't question them, you just get up and you do it. And that's the way, majority of our elders were brought up. You just get up and do it, no questions asked. And with them, with losing our elders and the sickness that's come over, this our community, all that's gone. Where do we go from here? That's the question that I'm pretty sure a lot of people ask.
Well, I like to think of what we're doing right now as part of our evolving oral tradition. 25 years ago, this wouldn't exist. I mean, there were lots of Indian radio shows now, but back then there was one here and there, and some language was shared and culture and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I figured that this perhaps was my calling, that we would share this tradition this way. And if I can teach other people like Morgan and others on how to keep this going, then I think we're a step forward. Mm-hmm. Now, what I want to ask you now is kind of measure the loss and the remaining resources. Now, many times our tribal language department says, we've got less than 500 fluent speakers left. Mm-hmm. Now, if we were looking at your part of the Creek Nation, how would you assess that?
I really, it's hard to say how many language speakers we have out there. Mm-hmm. I've never really seen a assessment or a survey that says this is how many we have out there. I've never really seen one, so I really can't say if there is that many. But we still have elders out there that live out in the woods, out in the rural areas, that speak the language that are still there. And so to keep the language going, we have to keep passing it down. Try to teach as many as we can. I've noticed that some of the younger ones, that's where it starts. Mm-hmm. We really have to reach them, because if we don't teach them our language, if we don't teach them our culture or our tradition, they find something else to do, and that pulls them away from that. So we have to tell them, when you're Shtijati, when you're Mvskoke, you have a clan. You're from a ceremonial ground. If they still have their grandmother, their grandpa, or maybe their uncle or their aunt, they can go to them and, where am I from? What clan am I? Start from there, and then if you to take the classes that the Creek Nation does offer. And I've held a couple of classes over here. Well, one class actually at Thloplocco, but when the pandemic set in, we had to stop all that. Mm-hmm.
So, we have had a considerable loss, throughout our tribe. But do you see this as also as an opportunity to get in touch with the young people, like you were saying, and to try to keep things going? Yeah,
to me, it's good whenever you see young people down at not only at the ceremonial grounds but at the churches. You see them. When you see a lot of kids around there, those are the ones that's going to be carrying it on for after we are gone. So we have to teach them as much as we can. If we can just grab maybe 2 or 3, and 4 or 5, or how many. Maybe if they see them learning, and it'll bring others to come in and learn. So we have to keep it going somehow.
Are you encouraged now by what I would say is a renewal of interest in our cultures? I mean, we've got this youth council we just spoke with. Those folks there have really impressed me. I mean, they go to immersion camps and things like that. And a lot of Mvskoke language words pop up as first usage, and it just makes me feel so good to hear that. And then you hear of a young man who can lead Creek songs, and you think, oh my God, what a resource this person's going to be. So, do you think that all this interest and dedication then is first of all worthwhile, and something that's going to follow through? Do you have faith in it?
Yes, I do. the youth council that you're speaking about here at the Mvskoke Creek Nation, I've seen them. I follow them, and I really enjoy seeing what they're doing with that. If they can reach as many as they can, and if they all and talk the language and the tradition and the culture. I know that's all part of that, and I know a gentleman out there, Jay Scott.
Right.
I mean, he's really influenced a lot of them kids out there, and I speak to him. Whenever we see each other, he talks to me in the language, and we talk back and forth. So it's good to see young ones like that. Even though the little ones that come out there, I had an experience one time that I was at a store, and this little girl, she was walking through there, and I opened the door for her to go in that store, and she come out. I didn't know this little girl, but she walked in there, and she said my dough. And it surprised me, and she already went, and I wish I would have talked to her more, but she had left, and just something like that, and she learned that from somewhere.
So you should have yelled down the aisle and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there is COVID going on. So, are there any things that you guys are able to do for like memorial services for these people?
You mean for the funerals and stuff?
Yeah, or memorial services within your community that anything's been going on that y'all have been able to do?
Well, it's been kind of difficult, with the COVID and with the pandemic and everything going on, and it's some of the funeral homes and the churches, have been closed down, and they limit, so many people in there, and so majority of the ones that I've been to has been the outside, and of course they take the precaution with the mask and the hand sanitizers and stuff like that, and the ones that I have attended, the Mvskoke Creek Nation has provided the hand sanitizers and stuff like that. So I really will thank them for doing that, because I just recently seen that at Miko Yarji's funeral.
Mm-hmm. At one point, I think there was kind of a division between your community and the tribal government for various reasons.
Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't real sure where we were going at that point. Now, do you see that separation or that division or that problem being solved in some fashion? Is there some solution or something you'd like to see, if nothing else?
I think so. To me, it's as speaking for myself, I don't see any separation from that. I just wasn't raised that way. I see us all as one. And maybe hopefully that will get situated and we can move on.
Yeah.
I think all this has definitely brought everybody back together. We have to be there for each other during this, and it's just something we all have to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to hear that from you. It's like there was a big thing over some gambling in a casino, and people were getting a little nasty there. But
over gambling? No way.
Yeah. Money does that.
Yeah.
To people. Makes you stupid. Yeah. Besides being rich, but it's encouraging to hear that everyone realizes that. I guess we're all heading in the same directions. Things like that. Now, what's happening down there in your community then that makes you feel good, makes you encouraged about the future?
For the Thloplocco Tribal Town, we receive grants. We're doing. We have our wellness center that went up. We also have our elderly housing that we did our groundbreaking on down there. We also are going to have a store. A general store, which is coming across the street, just north of the Golden Pony. So it's we have a lot of things going up over there, and it's something that makes our tribal town, our tribal people down there, they're very proud of. Not only as Thloplocco people, but being with the as Mvskoke people also.
So does that tribal town serve like the Okemah, Clearwater, or Clearview area.
Yeah, it's or the whole 11 districts that
Yeah,
the Mvskoke
awesome.
Creek Nation has.
Are you guys able, or have you been able to put some of your language speakers, elders, in line for the vaccine?
Yeah, we when the vaccine was coming out, and I was hoping that it would reach mainly our ceremonial people out there, church, in our church, our elders there at the church, our traditional churches out there. I was hoping that they would know that this was out there, because I met with this one lady down there. She lives over there by the Ryle Church, and she's an elderly lady. And I went and spoke with her, and I seen her, and she didn't know why we needed a shot. Why are we wearing these masks, and stuff like that, because just like Google, they don't hardly know, they don't tell them. And I think, if we had more awareness to them and tell them, what is going on out there, because the ones that the elders that are out there in these rural areas, they don't know, and they're wondering why they're sitting at home for all, and what is this sickness? What is this? What is going on? And if we tell them, if we tell them that this shot, this is what this is for. If we can convey that to them, it'll be, and if we can go get them somehow, because some of them may not have a ride. And we have to think about them first, because we're losing them, daily, and those are the ones that we really have to take care of,
Right.
and protect.
It's so easy for them to contract the virus, even just going to their monthly trip to the store or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard for them to even go to the store, or even go do the daily things that they're used to doing, because they've been, this is the way of life that they've been doing since birth, and now that you throw this big old curveball at them, they don't know. You have to get them and explain to them why this is happening.
While you were responding there, several things popped up into my mind there. First of all, is there a word for this virus? I mean, does the Mvskoke language have something that would either describe it or name it?
No, it's just I haven't heard it. Something new about this.
Is there some phrase that's being used that refers to it, perhaps?
No, I haven't come across it. About for the name of this. Just something that's just really hurting our people.
Yeah.
That's all that's all it's been rephrased to that I've heard. It's just a big sickness. That's coming across here.
The second part of my question was, what steps are you taking them to educate these folks? I mean, are you going out and telling them?
Some of them that I do see, that I do run across of, they'll ask, if, I'll ask them, how you been doing? Don't go out outside, and then they'll tell me about, what's been going on, and something like, whatever, and it's just you like to talk to them longer, but you just don't want to keep them out, like you want them, let them take care of their business and then go. But I wish there was a way to reach all of them, all the elders that are out there, and try to get them, with this vaccination, and tell them why, we're that you have to have this, and why you need it. So if we can convey that somehow to them, the ones that I do see is the one that I tell them that this is the vaccination. This is what it's for. Would
you use something like the white man's disease or something simple like that, or silly like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the last part of my question is a matter of trust. The history between Native peoples and the U.S. government is pretty spotted.
Yeah.
And pretty rotten in many cases. So do those folks and the rest of your community really trust the government to point them in the right direction or help them solve or at least deal with this problem? I mean, you get a shot, what's that for?
Yeah.
And do they say, well, maybe not. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mainly like that. They just like you said, trust is a big issue. With especially the older ones, because they've come down through history, knowing history. How our people were treated, and sickness and stuff like that. The diseases that they brought over here that we contracted. And it's for them. You really have to explain it to them. And sometimes it's a lot easier if you explain it to them in the Mvskoke language. It's just a lot easier for them to comprehend it. It's a bit English.
Let me, before your question, Morgan, I was going to ask you if you might share some of that. Like, how would it sound? What words would you choose in the Mvskoke to describe this? And go ahead, please use the language.
You mean to describe the COVID to somebody?
Yeah, and why they should get a shot.
Yeah. Inokkereda bumalaga doing avasteda ozagidondo. Moi jasno wat that damara jasno wat inokkereda zogodes the man CNS kada jasno up that jisaye. Or nagides or more nagid hada abuka ochino wat that ordino mansahim and gilli jasno maratat marata chingili. And this is basically telling them that this is a big this sickness. If you're wondering about it, we can go to the they're giving the shots and stuff at the hospital. So we can go up there, and then if you're still not sure, that we can ask them, and then go from there. So this is basically what I tell them.
Now, while you were doing that, I was just proud. That's the best word I can use. It's like hearing the language flow, and the message that you're delivering in the intended audience. So.
Yeah, you can tell, that would help build like a gap of trust. It like helps bridge that gap between an elder and they wouldn't be like, if I was like, hey, can you come get this shot because I'm worried about you, they would be like, okay, no.
Yeah.
So you can tell there's that bridge there of trust.
Yeah.
Have you helped elders sign up for the vaccine, using that kind of tactic?
No, I haven't had them sign up for that. And like I was saying, I when I run into them, I talk to them and ask them.
Yeah, you do explain.
But, yeah, and usually they have family there with them, so hopefully they're getting the care that they need. Most generally, they are.
Right. Awesome. That's good to hear.
Is there some sort of a recruitment program then to get elders to participate, to come in and get the shots? Has the tribe put something together?
I don't think so. I haven't heard of anything like that, so, but I wish maybe here with the Mvskoke Nation, being could get something going like that, go out there. But some of them are, once they know what this virus can do, it mainly hits, the elders. So maybe, I don't know if they would come to they maybe come to the door and would talk, but I don't know. But, if they know you, they would.
Right. So. It definitely would make me more hesitant also. But
Yeah.
you could also tell them Gary got his shot. He's up for his second round in a couple weeks. So
Right, yeah. No
Yeah.
side effects. My arm still works.
yeah.
Things like that. Now, this next question is a little odd. Morgan and I work in a business here that we strive to provide the best information possible to our people or to our citizens to serve our community. Now, just in, I guess catching you off guard, if I can, is our work paying off? Do people pay attention? Do they use our media forms, TV, radio, and the newspaper? Is it effective?
I think so. I think what you guys are doing here, and getting this the information out it's really helping a lot of people. I mean, like today, hopefully this reaches quite a few of our citizens, and maybe somebody that is tuning in or driving to work or going somewhere hears this and think about that person. Well, let me go tell him or her about this vaccination, and and get them more information about it.
Right.
Well, you're going to be writing this up, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, for the paper.
And this program will be available on YouTube this afternoon on the Mvskoke Radio site on YouTube, so people can listen in. It kind of makes you feel like you're worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I just want to help people, that's all, and I hope that we are, I read somewhere that, over all this politician stuff, but people, some people say, it's not the media, it's social media that is giving out wrong information, and you have to really pay attention to what you're reading and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So.
But, I hope that hopefully it does reach a lot of people, and just remember, that you got to have love for one another. Mm-hmm. You got to humble yourself, and got to be happy to see your people. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that we all are, taking care of one another. But most of all, we got to have hope and faith, and that we are going to survive. As one. Mm-hmm. And as long as we have that, and we don't lose sight of that, we all as Mvskoke people, we'll make it. Pumaida madundo. That's our way.
Mm-hmm. Was that your last word? Okay. Well, we're about out of time here. We want to say 2,000 Mados for coming in and chatting.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
It takes a story that we might be working on and turns it into reality, into real people, and particularly to hear the language deal with it.
And that connection, definitely,
So proud.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. What do we got here to wrap up here? Let's do a real quick PSA, and then we're going to be heading out. So stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio.
I started doing it when I was 11. I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be Native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.